Gentlemen, and ladies, if there are any ladies watching, I have in my hands the HDP50 killer. Or at least that's what I've been told, is that this is the HDP50 killer. But no, this is no Umarex product. This is the Beeman BP50. And today, we're gonna put a Skully Score on it. Let's do this. All right, guys, now it's been a little while since we've done the Skully Score, but just to give you a reminder of how we conduct this, we have a list of 7 parameters which we'll place over here. And I'm gonna actually just read them off to you real quick. So we have the size and concealability, the ease of reload, the power and functionality, the build quality and feel, price per joule or the value in the box, unique features, and then finally upgradability and aftermarket mod availability, which for this being a new launcher, we might not even go over that, but we'll go over the other 6. So before we go over all of that, let's go ahead and crack this thing open and see what it looks like. So this is pretty standard packaging. Now, for those of you who don't know Beeman, they are well known for their production of high quality air rifles. They also sell airsoft, which I did not know. I might try to see if I can get some in, because for those of you who know me, I am an airsoft guru of sorts. So I'm definitely gonna have to try out some of their airsoft guns. Let's see if I can get this out. Oh, well, that's actually a lot easier than I made it out to be. Let's see. All right. Operating procedure. I think we know how to load and fire a launcher, but does come with a rule sheet, and also, just to show Stumpy, this is actually pretty neat. It does come with projectiles as well. Now, I presume they didn't throw in the CO2, because if they ship it over air, you're not allowed to have compressed air. Obviously, whenever they're in cargo holds, compressed air tends to explode in higher pressure. So, glad they didn't include the CO2, but that's fine. We have no shortage of CO2 here, I can promise you. But let's crack this thing open and take a look. Oh, wow. All right, so first thing, and this is before we even get into like the Skully Score, I have to say this is surprisingly small. Like surprisingly small. Just to show you guys, for reference, I actually happen to have an HDP50 here. And now this isn't a head-to-head, but it would be good just to give you a direct comparison, because I know a lot of folks own HDP50s, so you can see side to side. And while I do actually prefer the ergonomics of the HDP50 Gen 2, the grip actually feels a bit better in my opinion. This is still like nothing to scoff at. This is a great feeling launcher, but it is magazine fed. That is huge. All right, so one thing to note, and just for reference, the HDP50 Gen 1s didn't have this, but the Gen 2s do have this, is a pressure release on the actual puncture cap. So you are able to twist this cap and release the pressure without having to fire out all of the air. That's pretty cool. But for the size and concealability, this is not my proudest moment, but I lost my tape measure, and thus I am reduced to a square, which will give us a rough approximation of the size, and you can obviously verify this at home if you want to see like how large it is, but I'm going to use the square to do like a rough measurement. So in terms of length of this launcher, we're looking at just under 7 inches by the height, which is about 6 inches. So it is quite a bit smaller than the HDP50, not as small as the CL, but it is quite a bit smaller rather than the HDP50. And for reference, for those of you who have the CL, because obviously that is sort of the standard when it comes to concealed launchers, that is actually not significantly larger than the CL. There's a reference. I'll put them side by side. Here, there you go. And yeah, actually I'm very impressed by the size of this BP50. So let's go ahead and measure the weight. And for that, I'm gonna get Stumpy to take a look. We're gonna measure this. I usually do grams, but we're gonna go ahead and do this in pounds. Actually, we'll do it in ounces. So this launcher weighs approximately 20.6 ounces, and for those of you who are metric nerds, that's 584 grams. So just under half a kilogram, just over a pound. And actually, just to give you the exact, it's 1 pound and 5 ounces. So size and concealability, this is an absolute banger. I don't actually have a holster for this, which actually makes me think. Hold on. I'm gonna make a holster for this. Anyways, just for the purposes of this test, I'm gonna see if I can conceal it decently. Okay. Granted, I'm wearing a jersey, easier to conceal in a jersey, but that is a very, very compact and small launcher. Now, let's go on to the next parameter. All right, guys, so the next parameter is on ease of reloadability. Now, this launcher is going to score very well for one simple reason, and that is that right there. We have a very easy to reload magazine in this launcher. Now, in terms of how many rounds it holds, we can find out together. It says 8 on the box, so I'm just gonna verify that. So I have the 8 rounds that the launcher comes with from their 8 rubber steel practice projectiles. And we're gonna pull these down, just keep loading it. I'm actually really surprised by how easy it is to reload this launcher. That's one thing that you don't get out of any of the other 50 cal launchers to my knowledge, especially not like the HDP50, but okay. And just like that, yep, we are on the bottom. And that is 8 rounds. So this thing does hold 8 projectiles in total. So yeah, it doesn't get easier than that, guys. It holds 8 rounds. The magazines are extremely easy to reload. If I did have one complaint, it's that on my magazine at least, as you can see, it looks like the follower does get stuck occasionally. I might actually go in with like a Dremel or a little bit of sandpaper to see if I can sandpaper that out a little bit, because that is actually a concern. I don't know if we're gonna have misfiring issues when we go to shoot this thing, but good thing that's our next test, our next parameter, which is power and functionality. So let's get out to the speed field. All right, guys, so before I get to shooting this thing, I just want to show you, we did end up lubing the side of the, I guess you'd call this like a follower, only because it was catching up plastic on plastic. So as you can see now, it doesn't catch at all. So we are going to be using 2.8 gram aluminum projectiles, and we're going to see how these work because these are bore matched. So I have 8 loaded in here. We have a fresh CO2, which we're going to drop into the launcher. And you know, no movie magic, isn't that what you say? No movie magic. So 2.8 grams. Let's see what kind of velocity we can get out of this. So I'm gonna go magazine in. Okay, CO2 is pressurized, and let's see if I can get a decent reading off of this.
About that high off the bottom,
okay.
Straight through it.
All right, you ready? Not going for accuracy, just trying to get a reading. Ready? 370.
370.
370. And the only reading I could get was 370, but here. All right.
370,
yep.
That is 18 joules.
18 joules, okay. So what we're gonna do is, because it does claim that it can fire 20 rounds, which is pretty impressive, we're gonna load this magazine up again. We just went through 9 shots if you count the dry fire that I just did. Let's go through another 8 and let's see if it retains power, if you get severe power drop. All right, so once again, we've already gone through 9 shots counting that dry fire. We're gonna go through another 8 and we're gonna see if we get similar power readings. So for reference, our first shot was 370 FPS, which was 18 and some change joules. So let's see what we can do. All right, ready to shoot? See if I can get this thing to read. I'm gonna bend down a little bit. 346. 322. 308, 303, 291, 276, we're losing power. All right, so.
You were at 15 joules in the middle.
Yeah, 15 joules in the middle, and that last was 276.
Yeah.
That was 10 joules?
10 joules.
Okay, so we started out with 18 joules. By the time we got to round, what was that, 9 plus 8 is 17. Yep. Once we got to round 17, we were down to 10 joules.
10 joules.
So we're getting a range of 10 to 20 joules throughout those two magazines. Now, that means you said the first shot out of the second mag was 15 joules?
Yeah, 15.
So you're gonna get 15 to 20 joules out of that first magazine. That second magazine is where you're gonna see significant drop off because obviously most of the CO2 has been expended at that point. And just to show you guys, yeah, it was already almost expended. They claim that you can get 20 shots out of it. Those last 3 shots would probably be like sub 10 joules. So not bad. They're technically right. You can get 20 shots out of it. But
just for reference, the rubber steel balls that come with the 2.9 gram.
Yes.
Whereas these are weighing in a little
2.8. Yeah, these are 2.8 gram aluminums. The ones that it comes with are 2.9 gram rubber steels. And yeah, so we just wanted to test with our aluminums.
Now, one thing I noticed, it fed perfectly.
It did feed. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Whenever we were in the office, I was really worried about this thing feeding, but no, it looks like it fed 2 mags really well, and it's still doing good. So if you guys do end up getting one of these launchers, like look, it's $100. Who am I to judge, right? Like, you know, it's gonna have some things. But if the worst issue you come across with a $100 launcher is a sticky feeder, then
you gotta lubricate it a little bit.
Yeah, could be worse. All right, let's get back into the office. All right guys, now the next parameter we go over with these launchers is the build quality. Now, you're dealing with a $100 launcher. I don't expect great build quality, but as you saw when we weighed it earlier, it weighs in just over 1 pound and 5 ounces, which is pretty hefty for a launcher this size. And in terms of the build quality, obviously it's gonna be polymer, but there don't seem to be any blemishes or mistakes, and I can actually give Stumpy a real good close-up of the launcher so you can see this does have some really solid build quality. All right, and in terms of the feel, this launcher does actually have a great feel. I had mentioned earlier that I do prefer the ergonomics of the HTP50 since it's a direct comparison. I'll keep calling back to it, but the ergonomics on this is still solid. You can still get a full grasp around the launcher, and it is extremely easy to fire. It's not too terribly heavy, so it's not overbearing when you go to aim it. And at the same time, it makes for extremely easy concealability because it is light enough to be able to pull out, but it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel junky. And actually, as a matter of fact, whenever I remove these pieces, when I shake it, there are no shaking parts, and you can see if the mic can pick it up. There's nothing. So yeah, on to the next parameter. All right guys, now the next parameter we go through is actually the value proposition of this launcher, which of course includes the price per joule and the value in the box. So in terms of the value in the box, we'll actually start there. For $109, which is how much we bought this launcher for, you get obviously the launcher and a magazine which is 8 rounds full of pepper rounds and a magazine which is 8 rounds full of the rubber steel rounds. Now, in terms of a deal, it really doesn't get much better than that. If you don't count the rounds, you're talking about the launcher itself being less than $100, which is pretty incredible. Now, since you do have to purchase the launcher with the rounds as a little kit, we're gonna include that in the price per joules cost. And all I did is I took that $109, I divided it by 18 joules, which is about what we got. We ended up with $6 per joule, which for reference, if you guys want to see a comparison, we did the S2 and the CL previously. I'm going to put that over here, or I'm not, he's going to put that over here, and you guys can see what the price per joule was on the other 2 launchers. In terms of the value proposition, it really doesn't get much better than the Beeman BP50. Now, let's go on to the next parameter. All right guys, so next parameter we go through is the unique features. Now this will be a relatively quick one because it's all right in front of you. This comes with a top mounted and a bottom mounted Picatinny rail. Obviously we're magazine fed, and then on top of that, our striker cap, we have a pressure release right here. Again, for a $109 launcher, this is actually pretty incredible that it comes with all of this. And yeah, that'll be it for the unique features. Let's go on to the next thing. All right, now for the upgradability and the mods available for this launcher. I know you were thinking this was probably going to be a quick one where I just say there's nothing available, but you would be wrong. This launcher, according to some of those out in the grapevine, is able to fit a standard HTP50 barrel. That would add a few inches of length on the end for the inner barrel, which of course would equate to more power. Additionally, we might have ASA adapters coming soon, who knows? And you know, with such a low barrier of entry, with the price point of this launcher, I think you're gonna get a lot of new folks into the less lethal community, which of course is gonna open up for way more people modding these things. Now, we did take a look at this and it is built similarly to the Pistol. Additionally, the teardown looks extremely easy on this launcher. We might be doing a teardown video soon. And yeah, in terms of upgradability, surprisingly high score. Now, let's get to the conclusion of this and go over our Skully Score. All right, guys, so this was the Beeman BP50. And without further ado, let's get to the Skully Score. We started off today with the size and concealability. Now, I don't know how you feel about this. In terms of the size of the launcher, I think this is an extremely high score.
Yeah, that puts it between the HDP50 and the like the compact or the CL or the carry. So it's like right in the middle of all of them.
Yep.
Why am I thinking that you're going to be making a holster? I'm just thinking.
I don't know. You know, I'll make something. I'll make it work.
Yeah. Why do I have a feeling we're going to see that here in the near future? Honestly, that is. If I honestly had to say, I think that is probably the most ideal size I've seen.
Right.
I mean, it really is, just because of its length.
Absolutely.
And guys, listen, just for reference, a lot of people think that we're paid to do this. I bought this. I buy a majority of the launchers you see on the wall.
And I shoot them.
And he shoots them. At the end of the day, I bought this off there on a whim. I was like, you know what, let's just see what it does. And I was unbelievably surprised on that thing. But the size, guys, it's just right. I mean, look. And I'm a big guy, you've seen it. But that is just the correct size to have a launcher. I really do like how they built that. So hey, aces to them on that. It's almost like they took a Pistol and squished it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And at 18 joules out of the box, I mean, yeah. You put a barrel extension on. Anyway, sorry. Size and concealability. What are you thinking? Like,
I'm going to say at least 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think that's fair. How about this? We'll judge it a little harshly. We'll say an 8. Only because I think we gave the CL a 9 or a 10. The CL is definitely smaller.
Definitely the easiest to conceal, period. Yeah.
Yes, but again, I go back to the value of this thing. This is insane, $100. Okay.
All right.
Next thing, ease of reload. Come on, guys, look at that.
That's pretty true. After you lubricate the magazine, of course.
Yes. Yeah, that's a fair point. I will say, for those of you who have the BP50 or are planning on getting the BP50, definitely lubricate the area where the follower slides down, because now that we've lubricated it, it goes completely fine. And we were just using some like basic airsoft lube.
Yeah, we're using silicone oil. We have that T4E marker oil, which would work just as well.
Yep.
So definitely use that stuff. Stay away from anything with petroleum. It eats away plastic.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, absolutely. In terms of the ease of reload, I mean, it literally does not get easier than this. I did not check.
Well, I don't know. A JPX Firestorm is pretty easy. Off with one slap, one on.
Yeah. I did not check Beeman's website. I don't know if you know offhand. Can you purchase extra mags for this?
You can. I want to say they're in the $20 range.
Okay. So I would absolutely recommend, this is the kind of launcher you want multiple magazines for, because it is so easy to reload. They hold 8 each. We were able to get 17 shots. The bottom one was 10 joules, so we're going to get 10 to 20 joules throughout that 17 shot range. I mean, the first 8 of which were 15 to 20 joules, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was good.
Because you're talking about S2 numbers now out of a 50 cal. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think for ease of reload? That's a pretty insane score.
I'm going to say 8, maybe 9.
Yeah,
8.
I think it's a 9.
You think it's a 9?
You tell me.
That is pretty easy. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty simple. All right. Well, and now on your ease of reload, do you also count the fact that where the CO2 goes?
That's a fair point. Yeah. I would venture to say, since this does shoot 18 joules and you're able to get 2 full magazines out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
You know. Okay. All right. So we'll go 9.
Not to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is doing good. All right, next.
Okay. Next, we're going to go on the power and the functionality as either a kinetic launcher, a pepper launcher, or a mix of both. Now, 18 joules is nothing to scoff at.
No.
It really is nothing to scoff at. Especially, again, for being 50 caliber, for being this small of a form factor. I was really surprised to see 18 joules out of this because these are the kind of numbers that you only get after modification on the HDP50, even the HDP50 compact.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's still $100 launcher.
I know, we can't.
I can't buy that.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, I'll have links to these down there in the description field, by the way.
Yeah.
So
if you want to purchase them, I mean, this is
and I would nothing on us. That's all for them. This is Beeman. So
yep.
All right. So what are we thinking as far as power and functionality? I am not going to point off for that having to lubricate that mag out of the box. I'm sorry.
That's fair. Okay.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Since we had to lubricate the mag, how about this? We'll give it a 7.
A 7. A 7's good. All right.
Because, you know, the HDP50 does shoot harder. We're getting 20 to 24 joules out of it. Obviously, longer barrel and it's modded. But, yeah, out of the box, 18 joules is pretty incredible.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So, all right, next one, build quality and feel. So, in terms of the build quality and feel, you know, I will say it is a cheaper launcher, so obviously it's made out of a cheaper polymer.
Yep.
There is a little bit, and you can actually see this, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but there is a little bit of an alignment issue on the Picatinny rail. Again, we're dealing with a sub $100 launcher. You can see yourself if you'd like. It's very minor.
Oh yeah, guys, you can see that. I don't know if you can see it, how it's a little offset. Like, look at these two rails. You can see how it's offset a tiny bit to the right.
Yep.
Yep. So, but like you said, but you know, they probably mold these scales.
Yep.
And
screw them in.
Screw them in.
Screw them in.
So.
I'm thinking for build quality and feel, maybe like a 6.
Yeah.
Just me judging it, trying to judge it.
Yeah, I'd say I'd definitely go with a 6. That's the only. There's no blemishes on it for sure.
Correct.
Are those sights adjustable?
No. These are just like standard optics that you slide on and slide off.
Stuck down there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Boy, that would have been a good point. But
that would have been.
All right, yeah, I'd say 6 is good.
Okay.
6 is good.
Yes, let's give it a 6.
All right.
Now, the one that I've been waiting for. The price per joule and the value proposition. Go ahead and write down a 10, and then we'll tell you why.
Yeah, that's going to definitely be a 10.
Should we even tell them? I mean, come on, it's obvious. $100, $109, you get rounds, CO2, presumably. Ours didn't come with CO2 because it was shipped over air, but CO2, and of course, the launcher. 18 joules out of the box. Same as the S2, but the S2 is twice as much, 3 times as much if you count the kit. The S2 is a great launcher, by the way, like great launcher in its own right.
It's also 68 caliber.
And it's 68
That's
caliber.
not apples to apples.
Fair.
Yeah.
But $109 for 18 joules, I mean, how could it not be a 10, right?
Well, the only thing I would say is we do not know the longevity of the launchers yet.
Yeah,
these are
fair.
very new. So when these go out in the field and people start firing them a lot, that's when any issues are going to come up.
Is that a request?
That I'm just saying you got to
put 100 rounds through this thing.
I know, but you got to reserve a point.
That's fair.
Because there's got to be room for growth. And if that thing, like you've already seen one teensy cosmetic defect.
That's fair.
So who knows what happens after 100 rounds, right?
Absolutely.
So
but I mean,
I'd say a 9.
A 9? Okay, yeah, we can give it a 9.
I'd go 9.
I think it's a 10. We'll give it a 9.
I know you think
I think
it's a
that's
10.
fair.
I know.
That's fair.
All right, so unique features.
Now, on to the unique features. I was actually really surprised by the fact that this came with a striker cap that has the pressure release. That's pretty impressive. The obviously the Gen 1 HDP50s, any of the Gen 1 T4E guns did not have that. That's a relatively new development. Obviously the Gen 2s have it, but none of the Gen 1s had it. And for this to come with that pressure release right off the bat, obviously the magazines are really easy to switch through. You have an upper and a lower on the Picatinny rail. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, one of the things that impresses me the most about that thing is the back of that launcher. The fact that you can access that.
Yep.
That means, guys, you saw what we did with the Pistel and that 88 gram CO2.
Yep, opens up for adapters.
Yep. So we're gonna have to look and see if we can find adapters for that to adapt either, 212 grams or even an 88 gram on that.
Are you asking me to design and 3D print a carbine kit for the Beeman BP50?
I'm not asking you, I'm just saying it's a matter of time.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
All right, unique features. What do you think? I mean, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe an 8.
8. Hey, we agreed on that one. Okay, let's go 8.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Upgradability and mods. Now, this is something we're not real familiar with. We know people are doing them already.
Everything that I have heard has been through either a few like select YouTubers or hearsay. I think for right now we're dealing with lower, obviously, on the score because
until we know.
Yeah, until we know.
If we could put an 88 gram cartridge on that, and extend that barrel 3 inches,
right,
the score gets revisited.
Yeah. So, and as a matter of fact, we may make a video out of tearing this thing apart and finding out what makes it tick. Because if we can slap an HDP50 barrel in here, we're going to get some insane power out of this. I mean, it's going to be Yeah, I mean, obviously above 20. Like
Oh,
easily
well above
joules,
20.
Yeah.
Well
and
above.
also, not even opening up for the fact that we didn't test it with like the practice pepper rounds because it didn't come with any, but I would presume that at 18 joules, we were getting like pretty insane dispersion as is, you know?
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in terms of upgradability and mods, probably like a 5 or a 6.
Let's give it a 5 because it's in the middle. We don't know. We know some things can be done. We know you can put stuff on Picatinny rails, and we know that's access to that valve chamber.
Yeah.
So
That's going to be
yeah, I
so
think that's
cool.
going to be good. All right. So let's see here. Let's rack this up for the final Skully score.
I think this will be the highest one we have so far.
I think you might be right. So let's see what we got here.
Come on, it's $100. Like, come on.
You
I
can't
don't even know how to, like, there's nothing really that bad to say about it. I mean,
Yeah, does it really matter at that point? Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
since you're calculating anyways, I want to, you can keep calculating. I'm just interested in terms of, look at that. Yeah, it is around the same size as an HDP50 compact here. I'll show Stumpy while you're measuring that out, or while you're calculating.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
So it gets a Skully score.
Okay, all right. So the final Skully score for the Beeman BP50 is
7.42.
7.42. I do think that may be one of the highest.
That may be one of the highest.
You know what? For reference, we're going to put the CL and the S2 right here just so you can see the two different Skully scores for reference.
Yep.
But that is an extremely high score. A 7.2 out of a $100 launcher, 50 caliber, 18 joules. What's to go wrong with this
Nothing.
thing?
I mean, that's value, right?
Gosh, well, next time you guys see this on the channel, it will be in a teardown video or maybe a head-to-head.
Ooh, a head-to-head.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Now, I'm going to sling some rounds through this thing. Have a good one.